Alright there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Code Vein. Welcome back to, not really the road to 100 or anything. But I was told, or at least not told, I was asked if I would be interested in, let me move this a little bit. I was asked if I would be interested in discussing some of the game here and some of the multipliers. So we are here with the Heimdall one-shot potential build for the butterfly, but that didn't happen. So we can switch over to Ishtar to see what we can do here. I think I need to set up my window here a little bit differently. Let me move this over here. It's always a little bit weird trying to get the windows set up here. Anyways, so if we look at what we have here, we don't really have a whole lot of different options or a lot of good availability, but so we will switch to the full up build, the full up file, so we can see what the multipliers are. So we'll discuss multipliers first, and we'll go through what we have, what we need, what everything does, and kind of how they interact. I did this in a past video once, and it was kind of wrong, kind of not the most useful video. So and it had a lot of errors in it and such. So we'll try and correct some of that here. But again, there are huge multipliers listed in the game here, and in order to keep all of them straight, it is extremely difficult to do that. So we'll head back to home base here. We'll get ourselves set up, and then we will attempt to see what we can do with the dummy. And at the same time, we'll just kind of see what we have available to us. Also using Ishtar, because it is one of the few blood codes to allow us anything and everything we want in attack damage multipliers. So let's go ahead and set up an Ishtar here. Okay, alright, here we go. And let's see, I don't think it'll matter for right now, but we'll just go for the Ivory Grace, since it's a very simple blood veil. And we'll go for the I guess we'll just go for the Argent Wolf Blade, since it's a pretty simple setup here, and we're quick mobility and everything anyways. Okay, so let's get rid of these, and we'll bring out the all the multipliers here. So we have Adrenaline, we have Bridge to Glory, we have Overdrive, we have Offensive Order, we have the elements. So we'll just pick up, I guess we'll pick up all the elements for here. And then we need Dex and Fortitude. Sure. And let's see, we go Strength and Willpower. Strength and Dex, okay. And then we can go Dex and Willpower. And I don't think we can get anything else to get Dex and Willpower up to an A. So the one blood code that you can do that is Queen's Claw, but for right now, this is what we'll run, and then we will check out how Swift Destruction interacts, as well as Survival Instinct and everything else. So we'll see what these do for now. And the best way to check all your damage multipliers and how they interact is here at the bag, and then in game actually with your partners to see how their communals match up with your blood code and stuff. Hi Andes, nice to see you. Los Andes, however you say it. Nice to see you. Nice to have you here. So, oops, I wanted to start training. So if we notice here at the bag, our value is 863 or 905 here, and we have a base value and we have a scaling value. Now the scaling is based off of our level. Since we are level 300, we'll be at the max scaling we can possibly have here. So we'll be at 905, and if we hit the bag, we're at 896. So we'll get your calculators ready. So 905, or sorry, 896 divided by 905. So there's a 1% reduction here on the bag for some reason with the blade here. So I don't want any reduction. So let's see what the Queenslayer bayonet does. It is at 812, 877. So there's another strange thing that it's doing more damage than what's listed on the card. So the bag here is kind of a problem. So let's try the Executioner, 928, 1002. Interesting. So 1002 over 928, so that now it's an 8% increase in damage. I don't know if I have anything that's just, okay, here we go, 482. Can this? Okay, so 5 damage. Okay, so that's about as close as we're gonna get to just regular straight up damage out the gate, unless the Sunset Sword does. Nope, that's an increase, so that's bad. Ice Blood will be bad. Okay, let's try the machete. 850, 841, still reduction. The pipe, 96, increase. Okay, so I guess the Black Saber is going to be our best value here to move forward. The Lost Broadsword, 479, so that reduces it a little bit. I guess the Black Saber is what it's going to be. Okay, so we'll start with the Black Saber here. Now you'll notice that whenever you're running your damage values, that miniature video is a big clickbait. Miniature video? What miniature video? I have a miniature video? Oh, the miniature chat? What? What are you talking about, Dingo? What? Anyways, so you'll notice here when you have your base damage and your scaling value, when you am I drunk? No. No, I'm never drunk. When you activate some of these values, oh, Swift Destruction, this is what's giving us the increase that I'm not accounting for. So 482, yeah, 433, so now it's reducing. So let's 79, 341, let's try the pipe again. 86, and it's 96. Let's try the Queenslayer bayonet again, 730. Yeah, I don't understand why these have reductions. Okay, 800, 720. Hang on a second, guys. I gotta find a sword here that actually works. 752. Nope. 885. There we go. So this is straight damage. Okay. Now here we will be normal mobility at exactly 100 pounds. So this will give us a chance to see Swift Destruction interact. Okay, so as you'll notice here, we have a pretty good base value and a high scaling value. So physical damage, um, Dingo, are you interrogating me? The physical damage is the addition of base plus scaling. So the higher scaling you have, the more physical damage you'll have. So if we look at our base value, 282, so if we activate adrenaline, it's a 10% off of the base value, and it adds it to scaling and then increases. So 885 plus 28 should be, what is that, 913. So then we do this, and 974. So adrenaline did not take 10% of our base value and add it to scaling. Rather, what it did, 885 times 1.1, was what it did was it took 10% of the physical damage and then added the 10% of the physical and added it to scaling. So very weird. Hey Megatech, good to see you. The buffs, yeah, it's getting out of hand. So when you apply adrenaline, good to see you, Megatech. So when you apply adrenaline, you are multiplying this value, physical, by 10%. Then you're adding that 10% to scaling, and then you're taking base plus scaling and adding that to be the new physical. So it's kind of weird how it goes that direction. So writing code for this is actually horrible. Actually, really, really, really horrible. So now Bridge to Glory, we know about that now. We've finally fleshed out everything about this. That it takes your which buffs are we going to test tonight? All of them, every single one of them. So yes, all of them. That is very true. So Bridge to Glory, what it does is it takes your half of your light value and it adds it to, what does it add it to? It adds it to scaling. So here we have, what's our light value? 1257. So half of that is 620, 625, and half of 7, so 628, 629. It'll add to our scaling for the value here. So 629, let's say, added to this, 628 added to this will be 1231 roughly on scaling. Okay, and 1232. Okay, so that is indeed how that works. And so now the question is, how do these two interact together? So we will see here that, remember, we'll take 10% of our value here and then add it to scaling, and then add base plus scaling. So that's adrenaline, and that indeed takes our 10% of this value, adds it to scaling, and then sums up the two. So then if we add Bridge to Glory, now the question is, where does that 628, it gets added to scaling, but we'll see how it adds to physical. So there, and do we indeed have the 620, the 628? So it adds it straight, and it adds the 628, and an adrenaline does not interact to redo the summing. Hey Juan, or Joan, is it Juan or Joan? Welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Good to have you. Yeah, you're finally here, so finally direct. That's right. You can ask things. We'll be going through the multipliers here for you. So when you're setting up these buffs, you need to kind of see when they apply and when they don't. So now overdrive. If we take overdrive, so you'll notice here that about 200 was added. So overdrive is a 25% increase, but 25% from what to what? So that's the interesting part here. You'll notice that we have 885, and our base is 282. Now adding value, excuse me, to base is very hard to do. which is why the fortification chrome is so important, because it adds value to base. And base is where a lot of your multipliers come from. So let's see where overdrive takes 25% from. There we go. So here you'll notice that we were at 1106 over 885, 25% increase. But where's the 25% coming from? It's coming direct from like what adrenaline did. So it takes the two, it sums them up, it applies 25%, and then it adds the 25% to scaling, and then it does the sum up again, and then creates a new physical. Now if we see how that interacts with Bridge to Glory, so the 628, again, Bridge to Glory is flat. It has no compounding value here with overdrive or adrenaline. And now adrenaline, remember what it did was there, it added the 80, the 88, 89 to our value here. And instead of redoing the sum, what it does is it remembers what your original value was. So when you compound these, you're always remembering the original value, which for us is 885, and that original value is what these two buffs play off of. Now offensive order is a bit different, and it gets a little weird when offensive order is taken into account. So let's look at offensive order. So 885 and 1062. So 1062 over 885, so that's 20% straight increase. So it takes 20% from the physical, adds it to the scaling, and then same as before. However, once offensive order is added in, so if we do the math here, if we have a 10%, a 25%, and a 20%, so 885 times 1.1 times 1.25 times 1.2, we should be at 1460. And if you'll notice here, we're at 1412. So this is where, when you add in offensive order, things get really strange. Things get really strange. Not all these buffs are multiplicative directly. They multiply to an extent, but not exactly. So we're coming out with less damage than what we should be calculating. So if we look at offensive order and adrenaline, so now that's 1.1 times 1.2, and we should be at 1168, and we are at 1168. So when you do adrenaline and offensive order, they actually scale and multiply just like you would expect them to. Now overdrive and offensive order, they do not scale appropriately. So 1284, so if we look at this, and we should be at 1327, so we're getting shafted out of about 40 damage from where? Well, the thing is that they multiply at different times and then sum. So it's very strange how these two interact. I haven't exactly figured out when and where they actually multiply, and which one comes first and which one comes second. Yeah, Joan, you're welcome. Welcome anytime you have questions. I mean, that's why I want to go over this again, to kind of get things fleshed out. And the community is the best thing about Code Vein, and you know, I like to do my part. So yeah, definitely good to have you, and definitely good to have you here on board. So yeah, anytime you're using offensive order, it kind of screws up the multipliers a little bit. Stupid question. That's not true. There's no stupid questions. Do elementals stack or cancel each other out? I've heard either from different places. So you can think of elements as two different ways. If you like a power series, it is a 1.2 to the... let me pull out my notes here for the elements. Because it's either a power series or a summation. Either one works, and you have to kind of do the power series a certain way. It is Let me see if I can find it here. So it's 1.2 raised to the 1 plus 0.85 plus 0.7 plus 0.7 as they stack up. Let me see, where is that page? Sorry if you guys are typing questions right now. I'm trying to find this in the book. Here we go. Yeah, so, no, the community is the second best thing about Code Vein. The best thing is the waifus. Yes, okay, never mind. Yes, I agree. You are correct. Okay, so for elements, they scale like this. 1.2, I'll type it in the chat here. Raised to the power series 1 plus 0.85 plus 0.7 plus 0.7. That's if you run all four. That's if you run all four element buffs, but it's also 20% of your damage summed up. So you can either think of it as a summation, or you can think of it as a power series. So if you're trying to write code to actually run this thing as a full damage setup, it's better if you use the power series, so it actually multiplies better when you do the multipliers. But if you're trying to just see the damage number, then summing it is a better way to think about it. And what do I mean by that? Eva's the best girl, not gonna lie. Yes, that is absolutely the truth. Definitely Eva all the time. Showing us his cheat powers. That's right. They act as power buffs rather than stacking the element effects then. So yeah, here, let me show you. Yes, you can stack the elements, and I would advise you to stack elements, especially versus like the Queen's Knight. He is weak to ice, fire, and lightning, and if you stack all three, ice, fire, and lightning, then you will absolutely ruin his day. You can see that on the speed kill with the pipe that I did on the channel here. He absolutely melts to that, yeah, you definitely want to stack elements, like on the Queen's Knight Reborn, lightning and ice. If you stack both of those, you get more damage out than if you use something like adrenaline or overdrive. So you wish you would have known this. Yeah, so let me show you here. So we're picking up 885. So then where's my calculator? So then 20% of 885. It's been a long day, so I'm not going to do this off the top of my head. So 1062. So here we go, and there's exactly 20%. Now if we add another element, if we do our power series here, we can raise it to the 1 plus 0.85. So the more elements you stack, that's why the power series is important to know, because the first one you get the full 20%, 1.2 raised to the first power. If you add a second one, then it's 1.2 raised to the 1 plus 0.85 power, so the 1.85 power. And if you add a third one, it's, let's see, plus 0.7. Oops. Then it's 1 raised to the 1.2 raised to the, I can't add, sorry guys, 2.55 power. So you're getting more than a squaring effect. And if you do 1.2 raised to the 1 plus 0.85 plus 0.7 plus 0.7, you're getting it raised, you're getting it raised to the, oh my gosh, 0.7. There we go, 3.25 power. So you're getting a cubing effect. But it's 1.2 times your value, and then adding 1.2 times the value plus 1.2 times the value. So it is an add. You can think of it as a sum or as a power series. I like the power series because it works better coding it, but you can think of it as a summation. So if we're looking at 20% of our 885, we should be looking at 177 added every time one of these shows up. So 885 times 1.2 raised to the 3.25. So 1600 should be what our value is if we do all of the elements here. Remember 1600 and 1593. So we're getting real close to that 1600 value. So the bag here has some issues with blood damage, and that's where the discrepancy comes from. So you can think of it as a power series, like I said, like I typed in the chat there, for each of the elements, or you can think of it as a summation. Okay, so now, and these, though, do not take any value from these other damage values that you have stacked up onto your blood code at all. So whenever you're running these are the multipliers that are running against your scaling value here. And if you're running these, it's flat damage increase. However, that's where knowing the weaknesses of your enemy comes into play, because if they have a weakness to an element, they will take increased damage than the 20%. What's a power series? A power series is a series which where the exponent is the increasing or decreasing value, and the more consecutive values that you add into it, the additions or reductions and things, they happen in the exponent of the calculation. So when you're running here in Code Vein, it's a little weird because everything kind of multiplies and adds at different times. And that's why it's so difficult to say that, overdrive is a 25% increase to damage. Well, not all the time. And offensive order is a 20% increase in damage. Well, not all the time. Adrenaline's a 10% increase to damage. Well, most of the time. And for the elements, it's 20% straight up on the card. But once you add them up and then you start hitting for weaknesses, then they do way more damage than something like these buffs up here. Like when you make a build for your main DPS in Genshin, something like that. No, you encounter power series typically first in Calc 2, and beyond. When you're running, it's a mathematical term. Sorry, I'm too heavy into the math here. Yeah, you don't come to my channel to just kind of take the easy way out. You come to my channel to actually learn something about Code Vein, unlike an angsty game journalist. So let me show you here what I mean. Let's see if we have we don't have anything. You need to take off. All right, Megatech, thanks for stopping by. Hope you're doing well. Hope life's going well. And we'll see you when we see you. Thanks for stopping by. Okay. Whoops. Let's head to. Whoops. I don't know what I picked. I'll have to see here what we picked accidentally. And we'll have to try out and see what the boss is, so we can get the multiplier for you. So once you start doing, oh, perfect. Cliffs of Rust is a good one. Once you start doing different attack buffs, mathematics in a game, no, wrong channel. You should go. Yes, this is definitely the wrong place to be if you're if you're coming here to not learn something. But if you are going for different setups here, you can see definitely how the buffs go against these folks here. I think we go for lightning. Okay, and then we'll take this guy out. Okay, oops, we're dead. Okay, and there's the key. Good. Now let's head on out back to the missile so we can get the next key, and then we'll see how the buffs do against the big despot here, and you'll be able to see more of the values and exponents and multipliers because of the weakness to blood. And since he's so weak to blood, it's actually pretty hilarious. Whoops, we're dead. Mia, thank you. Okay, there we go. And let's go for a backstab here, or just knock this guy around a little. There we go. And let's head back. Got key number 2. You need some water. Okay, so is that clear as mud here so far? Figuring out the buffs and the modifiers at this point, and we haven't even gone over like swift destruction and these other ones, and survival instinct and stuff, and those make the multipliers even weirder later on. So we'll have to see here how they actually stack up against the despot. And first before anything happens, we will go solo, so we can see the exact values and how they stack up against this guy. Okay, now remember we have 885 on our card listed for the sword at this point. 885. So we'll see what that does versus him, and then we'll head out. Okay. Where is your body? So 885. So he has no resistance to slash damage. So that's very good. So this is how you go about figuring out which boss has which weakness and which damage values. So we'll head in here, and remember, if we use something like fire, this is a 20% value, and so we should be seeing that 1060 whatever value, and indeed we do. So he has no resistance to fire, and he has a straight up he's not weak to fire, but it's a straight up normal damage value. Now, if you'll notice here, with blood, it gets a little bit different. So we'll see what the value is here. I can tell you now it'll be more than 1062. 1328. Oh, come on. So 1328 over 885. That's a 50% increase in damage. So that is where you notice that, oh, he is extremely weak to blood, like super weak to blood. And so now blood damage is no longer a 20% increase in damage, but it's a 50% increase in damage. So if we go for these, all the elements here, we'll see what that value is. Let's go for our haze first. Okay, so 1859, and we know that the blood damage was 50%, so we have 885 times 1.2 plus 80, okay, so that was 1062, and then the value coming out of this thing is 177. So 885 plus 177 times 3 plus 885 times 0.5 plus 885. That's not right. Get rid of this. There we go. So he does have a resistance here somewhere, because we're 500 damage short. So if we look at lightning, let's look at lightning outright. So this should give us a 1062. Okay. And it does. Oh, come on. Oh, the delay time there on the the delay time on the activation of the missile is kind of annoying. Um, so you can see that when the values start to compound, they don't actually multiply exactly how the calculator would pick them up to multiply. So let's go for ice now, and we'll see exactly what ice does. Okay. And 1062. So he does have no weaknesses to anything. In fact, he is straight up no weaknesses, but he does take 30% increased damage to blood value. So that's definitely where you want to place all of your damage, is on blood. So now if we switch and go for somebody like Jack,
All right.
and we pick up his communal here, Fatal Surge, you'll notice the 885 will no longer be 885. Okay, so let's go for Fatal Surge first, and then we'll go for Blood next. Okay, so there's that one. And let's see what his value is. Hey Red, welcome to the stream. So we're going over multipliers. So 885 turned into 1771, which is exactly double. So it takes the physical value, multiplies it by 2, and then it adds that value to scaling, and then it sums up everything. So there we go. And let's go for blood. And now we won't do 1771. We'll do a lot more than that. Oh, Jack's hitting him now. That's bad. Jack, go away. There we go, 2656. So that's pretty good value there, as we were doing 1835 before, and now we did over 2,000. So we're able to definitely stack up the damage value here with Fatal Surge. So now, and Fatal Surge does not increase any of your elements. The elements are based on enemy weakness, and they are based on which enemy you're facing and their strengths and their weaknesses. So if you're going for ultra damage, you want to make sure that you have all the buffs available to increase your scaling, while at the same time going for the correct and only the correct damage values for elements based on the boss. Because if you pick something that the boss is strong to, then you will actually incur less damage than you did originally versus somebody. So you want to make sure that you have your damage buffs in place, and you want to have your elements in place. Otherwise, you won't be doing the maximum amount of damage, even though you spend a lot of iCore and go for, you know, all these crazy things that would get you supposedly huge damage values, but because you're not matching the elements correctly, it'll actually hurt your overall value, because the elements come at the end of the oops, I didn't want to be here. They come at the end of the multiplication stage for your damage and for your values. So you'll always want to make sure that your elements are paired correctly, and unequivocally that you know those damage elements are the correct ones. I'll show you a little bit of that here with this fella. So let's go for so we got a baseline this guy, so we're at 885, and if we hit him once, 974. Okay, so right there off the bat you can tell that he has a 10% weakness to slash damage, and if we pick something like the Warped Blade, no, Warped Blade's not a good idea. Slash, let's go for the Great Sword. So this is 800 and it has Crush. 792. So there you can see that he has a 1% resistance to Crush, whereas the Wolf Blade, he has a 10% weakness to Slash. So there again, you definitely want to match your damage. You want to match your elements, and you want to match your modifiers. You're playing Code Vein while you're watching you play Code Vein. That's funny. I hope maybe this can help you with your playing Code Vein. If you're on PC, in a minute, I will absolutely open up the floor, and we can do some adventuring together if you're interested. Now if we go for fire value, you would think that this would go for more than 974. So let's see here, 1266. So because he has a weakness to slash, we can go for the greatsword, and we will. Oh, you are on PC. Oh, awesome, perfect. Then we'll definitely have to hook up here. Okay, so then we do this one. So 1029. So he does take increased damage, but is it indeed 20%? Let's see here. So he was doing 794 times 1.2, 952. So he does have a little bit of a weakness to fire. And if we go for ice, 950. So you can see there clearly it is not even in the 1,000 mark range, where it should have been. And so he has a little bit of weakness to fire, a heavy resistance to ice, an average weakness to lightning, and then if we go for blood, you will notice serious damage. So 1188, so even higher than ice, fire, and lightning. So these guys, they're weak to blood and they're weak to slash. And if we would go for Pierce, you would notice kind of the same damage value as Slash. So that's kind of how you go about picking up every enemy in the game and figuring out what their weaknesses are, what their damage values are, and how to go about picking up each of their damage setups and everything. Juan, you had I think it's Juan. I think that's more appropriate than Joan. I could be wrong. I could be wrong about that, but you had a question about where do I farm for haze? If I was to farm for haze on the first run of the game, I will show you that right now. We kind of chatted about it in the comments of one of the comments for one of the videos that we went to, but I'll show you here. I hope that answered your questions about multipliers and scaling and kind of how that goes about there. But let me load up my level 1 person, and I'll show you exactly where one of the best places I found for first playthrough of the game to kind of go through, and if you need items, if you need haze, if you need tungsten, it's not the best, but it's a really good place to go about picking this up. Okay, so you want to head to the government center entrance. Hope everybody has some water. Okay, as we come in here, let's see, what are we doing? Okay, so this area is great because these guys can drop tungsten. You can farm titaniums, you can farm MJ310s, and you can farm a lot of haze. It's a really great place, and it's a really great setup because it's fairly simple, fairly easy, fairly quick. So you can pick any blood code really that you want, and we'll just go with Ishtar for now. Oops, Goddess's Smile. I guess we'll keep that on. Where's Revenant's Greed? And the other one is, I don't have it unlocked yet, I guess. But this is good enough. And what do we need here? We need the Cerulean Spear with an ice chrome, Fion chrome. Sorry to hear that, Los Andes. Um, that's really, really sad whenever you're getting really close to damaging or winning a fight and you don't. That's really, really sad. So I like to go for the Silver Garb because it will have one of the highest drain attack values here. And then I put on Sharpened Fangs to increase that drain attack value even higher. Okay, so this will be our setup here. We won't really need anything else on the blood code here, but I guess we can go for some other things. I guess we could go for Ice Barrage. This isn't really anything, it's just to kind of, you know, do the thing here. I guess we'll go for Bridge. I guess we'll go for all the buffs. Cure, Gift Extension, Ice. Go for Stagger, and boy, I don't know. I guess we'll go for Damage Resistance. Okay, and then I would pick up White Mia here, for sure, because she does ice damage. Okay, and then I would just kind of click all the things here. Okay, probably these, this. Okay, and then you just kill this guy. Oops. Whoops. Okay, good, we got a backstab. And we'll poke this guy. Oops. Okay, got another backstab. So this area, these guys are, if they play nice, it's actually really great because you can poke these guys. And we didn't get anything we got something here, so there's an MJ310. Very good, and you can see that you get about 30,000 haze out of these guys. So it's actually really, really good. And even if you don't have any buffs, if you just go for the backstab here. Okay. And oops. That guy should not be activating. But he is anyways. And you can see that even at level 1, we're still able to put these guys down pretty easily. And there you go. There's another 7,000 haze, and you can farm this over and over and over. And because you're right here, you're right here at this area, you can you know, take these guys very, very quickly, very, very simply. Mia usually takes care of that guy, and then this guy, because I have Ice Pierce, you know, I can just kill these guys very, very quick. And it's pretty simple, and you don't always get items, but if you're going for a level 1 run, this is a fantastic place to master gifts. It's a fantastic place to get items. It's a fantastic place to get damage out on the enemy, and it's a fantastic place to kind of figure out different weapon interactions and such. And if we go for some pokes there, I mean, this guy, you can just bully him around pretty easily, pretty quickly. Okay, there's really no reason to do these other things here, but why not? It's fun too. And there we got an item. Okay, and there we got an item. Okay, and so we got 2 out of 3 items. Good. So there's a lost crystal, so that's even more haze. And there we got another MJ310. So it does take some time, but you can farm this for a couple hours, and you'll be really, 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 really good to go here. So you have another question. There's a substitute or similar ability of gift extension. So no, there's not. Gift extension was at the very, 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 very beginning of the run of Code Vein when it first launched. And after that, it does not exist. So that is a sad day for folks trying to get a hold of it. But it doesn't, you can't have access to it, which is really sad because White Mia also gives you gift extension, and because gift extension is locked now, so there's another titanium, you can't have access to it anymore. Unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. Very unfortunate indeed.
You're good.
So there's a lost crystal and another titanium.